panel is used to ask for a reservation and then to handle their billing relative to their stay and activities throughout that stay. First, let's address registering a guest for a reservation. You can register a guest start through the reservation grid, the map, an online reservation if you have implemented the online reservation system in your website, or directly in the guest panel. Let's look at the reservation grid first. When you make a reservation for a guest, say from a phone call or email, you can easily see which site is available for the time frame the guest needs to stay. Find the site and right-click on the arrival date. Holding the mouse button down, drag across to the departure date. The program will take you to the guest panel to enter their name and other information. In the zip code field, you can enter the zip code and press enter and it will retrieve the city and state information. Select the type of stay, site type, and remember to save the guest registration. Next, let's look at the map registration. In the map, enter the arrival and departure dates. The map will show all of the sites available for that period. Select one of the green site boxes and the program will take you to the guest panel to enter their name and other information. Select the type of stay, site type, and remember to save the guest registration. Note: neither the reservation grid nor the map approach takes into account for the site type or other requirements the guest may have. For online reservations, if you have set up the online reservation system for your website and a potential guest fills out the reservation form and submits it, you will receive an email saying you have an online reservation. Just go to the guest panel and press the Get Internet Guest from Web button. RV Park will retrieve the entered guest information into the guest panel. Select the type of stay, site type, and an available site for the reservation, and save it. It is imperative that you use the Remove the Internet Guest from the Web button to delete that reservation. Otherwise you will continue to pull that reservation information each time you try to retrieve a guest. Direct entry on the guest panel. You can also enter everything directly into the guest panel. The arrival and departure dates and guest information can be entered. Just double-click each field to get the calendar, and then use the Available Sites button to find sites that meet the guest requirements, like electric, sewer, size of unit, etc. Select a site from the available list, pick the type of stay, and save the guest registration. Other adjustments to guest discounts. A discount can be applied to a guest at whatever level you want. Just enter a number like 10 for 10% and check the discount box to apply the discount. The discount word will turn red to remind you the discount is being applied. Rate adjustments. There are times when you need to adjust your site rate for the type of guest stay. This could be to add a few dollars for a guest using 50 amp service, or to subtract a little because they are a senior citizen. This feature lets you handle that type of situation. Note: when a rate adjustment is applied, it adjusts the actual rate. Therefore, if the rate is daily, each day the guest is charged for will be affected by the adjustment. Deposit. You may get a deposit from a guest reservation. The deposit can be registered in the billing table or just shown for your information. If you register the deposit, you may want to apply it to the guest's final bill, which is what the Apply button is for. Type of stay. You should select a type of stay. This is especially true if you want RV Park to provide sites appropriate for the guest. When looking for available sites, RV Park will use the site type, the length and width of the vehicle, electric requirements, water, sewer, etc. Once the reservation is saved, you can create a printout of the reservation for your records, using the Print Reservation button. Or you can use the Output Reservation button to create a guest copy that can be sent to your default printer, saved to a file on your computer. Or if you have properly set up the email capability, you can email them a copy of the reservation. Guest billing. The billing process is a 3-step activity, where you may perform steps 1 and 2 over and over, depending on how long the guest is there, and then when they leave, step 3 will be done to release the site and close out the guest's stay. Typically, there isn't any cost shown in the guest panel until you enter a paid-through date. This is because RV Park doesn't know what period of time to bill for. The exception is if you have added another charge to the guest. Once you double-click on the paid-through date field, select a date. RV Park will provide billing for that period. RV Park will allow prorating a bill. If a guest is staying on a weekly basis and the paid-through date is not 7 days, RV Park will prorate the bill. If you do not want the bill prorated, just check the Do Not Prorate box. You can also force seasonal rates not to be used. If a guest stay happens to go across the dates, the seasonal rates change. Interim billing. The checkbox for "This is an interim bill" makes it possible to charge electric-only or other charges to guests staying for longer periods of time. When RV Park initially calculates a guest bill, the amount due should be green, but if you alter any aspect of the bill, the amount due field may turn yellow. This is to signal that the payment will be less than the amount due. If the amount paid is more than the amount due, the field will turn red. This is just to let you know what is happening. You can either change the amount paid manually, or if it should be equal to the amount due, you can just press the equal button. Once the billing is what you want, press the Generate Bill button. This will create a bill to the default printer. Sometimes you may not want the amount paid to be on the printed bill. If so, check the Do Not Print Amount Paid on the bill box before pressing the Generate Bill button. This action does not save the transaction in your billing table of the database, it merely updates the guest information. When the bill is paid, make sure the paid amount is correct, and then you can press the To Bill Paid button. This will register the transaction in the billing table of the database and update the guest's last paid date and other information. If the guest is staying longer than what this billing cycle covers, or they actually haven't checked out yet, you are done for now. When the guest actually is ready to leave and has paid the last bill, then you can use the 3 Checkout button to close out the guest and return the site to the available pool. The Reset Date button is needed when you accidentally press the Bill Paid button and the guest's last paid date is wrong. This will allow you to correct that date to be able to reissue the bill. Note, you will most likely need to also delete a transaction in the billing table to correct overall charges being tracked. There is also a Rate Details button to help explain how the rent was calculated. If you want to track the guest's form of payment, there is a button for that. A few words on other charges. You can add up to 5 other charges to a guest bill. If you use the other charges, there is a word of caution. You can change the amount of another charge, which will show in the bill, but when you generate the bill, the amount adjustment is not saved, so hopefully you will be using the Bill Paid button before leaving the guest. Otherwise, when you return, the adjusted amount will return to the original amount. This is not the case with the other charge quantities, so if you add an other charge and change the quantity, it will be retained after you press the Generate Bill button. There is also a Do Not Rent checkbox to flag a guest that you don't want back. This concludes the guest panel video.